Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Wednesday, the 31st of August. Thanks for joining me. I want to use the Sorcerer's Tarot today. Let's see what these cards have to say about Wednesday and what energy you'll be working with. So just want to shuffle the cards a few times here, get a bit of a feel for them. And then I want to choose 3 cards to see what the day is all about. So let's do that. Okay, we've got the 5 of Wands. We've got the 7 of Wands. And finally, the 3 of Swords. Okay, so I'm getting via these cards that, first of all, it's a warning. Don't get too enamored with your own power and your own accomplishments and your own sense of drive, and this is what I want and this is what I need, me, more me. You know, that kind of thing is going to lead to too much of that and you actually being quite disappointed with the outcome. With these 2 cards, both fire cards, you can see that there's a lot of conflict involved here. Usually the 5 of Wands is about trivial conflict. It's not about a big deal. It's usually play. In this deck, it seems to be a bit more serious. And then here, the 7 of Wands is super interesting because that's usually to do with stamina and having real grit to continue on. But here, it's someone who seems to be very concerned with time running out. And it's like, I've escaped or I'm doing something and I feel like the clock is ticking. And you know the pressure you've got when you do feel that, like, oh, I've got 9 minutes to finish this piece of writing, or if I don't arrive at the train station and the traffic isn't clearing up. So it's a sense of desire, but it's really under duress. Like, I want to catch the train, I want to finish the paper, but the odds are against me now. So it's an interesting take on this card, which I really like. So the thing that is not lacking is motivation. You're very driven to achieve and to get things done, particularly things that feel important to you. Or even on this day, I feel that trivial circumstances, which usually you can take or leave, I mean, a simple pleasure that you don't really care about, becomes super important and blown out of proportion, and you could get into arguments about it. And interestingly enough, what I feel the biggest warning is that with the 7 of Wands, you can see this figure looking at the bats, but it's also like he's looking over at these 2. And the real risk is that if you take your own circumstances so seriously, it's like, my schedule, what I need to do right now, I'm not particularly interested in your needs, what you have to say, and I'm not feeling particularly patient. If that's the case, then that can actually end in conflict, where the other person says, hey, you never listen to me, when do you have time? And it can signal a real break in that relationship, so there's a fracture, which leaves you feeling really devastated and like you've lost something, simply by being too wrapped up in your own circumstances, which, I mean, is easily done, right? Everyone leads a busy life. There are bills to pay and people to see and things to do. So I feel that the first message via these 3 cards is just to have a little bit of patience for other people around you, and to deliberately be interested in what other people are going through, or what their plight is. It's not just you alone on this planet, even though you may feel swamped or like you've been rushed off your feet. Okay, so the 5 of Wands, usually it's 5 boys playing, and it's about comparing yourself with other people so that you can discover your own strengths and talents. The 5 of Swords is about serious conflict. Here, though, we've got 2 centaurs, so for me it falls somewhere in the middle. And these 2 are basically focused usually on running around and exploring and setting goals and keeping things moving. And here they're just engaged in a battle of wills. And I mean, there aren't any weapons involved, but it doesn't seem like it's that. Could be a wrestling match to see who's stronger. I mean, just because they're not laughing and having a good time doesn't mean it's not playful in a way. But just because of the amount of energy involved, I think that, again, it's that lack of clarity. Is this a joke, or does the person mean it? And are they like needling me? Or this situation, which seemed really silly and fun to begin with, has now turned into something much more serious. And how am I going to justify that? It's that lack of clarity, or when something gets away from you and something small grows into something bigger, or something that seemed one way turns out to be totally different. It's that ambiguity of your circumstances. So when things are ambiguous and you don't know exactly which side the coin is going to fall, then just being invested in yourself isn't a good strategy, because it takes a lot of attention and actually trying to engage to understand what's going on around you. So being withdrawn or just focusing on your own stuff means that things are going to pile on, and that you'll have more problems to deal with in future, rather than if you deal with them in the now, you can avoid a lot of this. So simply, if you've been working with a colleague or something and you've got this sense that they feel a bit neglected, you've been there for years, they're new, and there was like a mentorship thing going on. You've now had a ton of work in the last 2 weeks and you really haven't been able to help this other person at all. Then on this day, for instance, if you have 20 minutes or a little bit of extra time, and you're thinking about what to pursue, then maybe catching up with that colleague who may feel a little bit neglected, that's going to save you so much time down the road, because those 20 minutes invested just going over and saying, hey, how are you getting on with the new class or whatever the project is, how are you settling in to the environment, where the kitchen is and everything. Well, that might be a bit belated if they've been there for 2 weeks, but that's really going to then make that person feel appreciated, like you're not just self-interested, and it will solve a lot of future problems that potentially could come up. If someone feels like, wow, this colleague of mine, they really care about how I'm doing and they take time out of their busy schedule. If something comes up where it is ambiguous, like, did they mean to just dump this on me so that they could bail early on Friday? Or is it something that's part of my role and they didn't explain it, or whatever it may be? Then if you feel like that person's on your side, you're much more willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then you're avoiding arguments and conflicts, you see? 7 of Wands is about stamina. So you can get things done, but I think you also have the stamina to do things that exist outside of yourself. So your job, your mission, but also other people's feelings, maybe a detour to stop at the pharmacy if someone else needs something, rather than saying, no, we've got to be home at this time, I've got someone coming. It's just being more flexible and willing to accommodate other people. And then finally, the 3 of Swords, that's going to help you avoid this, where you're very much in your feelings, particularly negative feelings, because I really like some of these images here. So we've got all these books. So this person thought, I'm going to be happy in life if I attain meaning and get answers. And then there's a stack of bodies behind him, and he's forgot about relationships, and now he realizes that the whole thing was, the focus was off and the whole thing didn't work. So I get, again, that shifting the focus is a good idea. And getting rid of this sense of the clock is ticking, because that puts everybody under pressure and that makes everyone irritable. The final thing, the bats aren't really something, and I was going to say they haven't really appeared on my radar very much. Funny. But they really haven't. Like, I don't feel very drawn to bats. They're nocturnal. I prefer moles, I guess, because I'm an earth sign, if we're talking about, these nocturnal things. So it's an animal that uses its senses to navigate the world. It's got a completely different approach and perspective. It's something that's frightening to a lot of people, misunderstood. I suppose if you're being hounded by a bunch of bats, you'd feel very intimidated. This is more like someone is on a mission. The bats are kind of, the whole thing implies danger to me. Pressure, danger. That's why you have to only focus on yourself, because the odds are so high. Whereas the reality is, pull yourself away from yourself as such, look around you a little bit, be of service, have some compassion, have some empathy, and you can really turn these two around and the clock goes poof. And you can get your little Batman costume out and play instead of feel threatened by the bats. Yeah. Okay. Number-wise, we've got 5 and 3, that's 8. And then 7, that's 15. 1 and 5 is 6, and 6 is a temporary opportunity in numerology. So it's the opportunity to let go of the pressure, the opportunity to help other people and to deliberately become interested in what they're doing and how you can help. Yeah. Have a wonderful day. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to order your reading with me. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and the little bell next to it and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.